I'm going to show you how to paint this poinsettia card step by step. Let's get started. And I'm just using my poinsettia line drawing. Link will be in the description. I'm going to wet all the paper and just want to get some yellow. I'm going to make it fairly watery. Put some yellow in the center. And then I'm going to put some red. This is a squirrel brush. And you see how much it holds? It's crazy. And then I want to show you a little secret. If you have a brush like this with an angle on the end, you can use this. You can use this to draw and just scrape in some veins. Or if you have a skewer works really well. And you don't want to do all of them, maybe some of the smaller ones towards the center. And if you look, and I'm pressing quite hard, so the watercolor's pooling in the indents. Like, let's go back over this. Do you see the difference? So I'm gonna dry it with the hairdryer. There it is dry. You can see the veins are still nice and prominent. So I'm going to start with some green. And this is such a beautiful green. This is the, I guess I should have said, this is the set of Roman small. But I'd use them again because I absolutely love them. So we're just gonna take this green, and this is called Aquarius green. We're going to grab a little bit of the blue, and we're gonna make it a cool green. I actually marked a couple of my dark spaces in my plan, just so I could kind of remember. A little more water. You don't want them too thick. You want the paint to show the underneath. I can maybe drop a few other colors in just to give it a little interest. Probably some blue. Let's grab a little blue there. And if you're going to drop color into something wet, you have to make sure that it has less water in the mix, because if it doesn't, it's going to cause back runs. We have some really, really dark bits in behind the petals. So I have this right here. And this paint, if you see, it still moves. It's just kind of rich and creamy. It's not too thick. You don't want paint where it's like dry brushing because you barely have any on your brush because it's sticky. That's not the type of paint you want. You want it to be fluid. And I'm even gonna put a little bit just right around a couple of those. Little leaf? No, that's not a little leaf. That is a little dark spot. Now we're going to dry that. We're going to grab a little of the yellow, a little of that green, a smidge blue, put some more green in this. We're gonna make this one brighter. I'm just gonna grab the darker. So I'm just going to start, might grab a little of the yellow. See, the yellow and the green will help tie the yellow center in. Do that. So I'm going to put another green one here to kind of balance out the three. And we need a cool, deeper red. So let's go with the red. Grab a little bit of this and a tiny smidge of the blue. I want a warmer, but still a little cooler red. Okay, and I am going to switch to a smaller brush for this. I'm going to start with the dark, grab some of that red. So we just get kind of a mottled look. I'm gonna drop it in, it's got to be thicker. And you can even put some water on this edge, right? So I put water on that edge. That way it won't be a hard edge. Let's mix a little with the smidge of the yellow. There, see, put a little highlight. Let's start brighter color in here. And take some water, put some water right just down here to even make a back run. You could even do it here, which would be quite interesting. So now if you see, it's pushing that dark. So if we want to stop that pushing, you've got to mix up thicker paint and you have to just put it next to that. Do you see how that stopped? And if you notice, I'm keeping them dark where things overlap. And I love this technique with thicker paint. You just dab your brush, you've got water on it, and I'm just kind of throwing some water down. Add some bright. I'm just gonna actually put a little bit of red in between too there. Okay, in fact, let's go to this one right here. Grab some of this red and put it over here so we just have some red. And you can see it's a cooler red, but it's a beautiful red. And if you wanted to, you could even say, oh gee, I wished I would have scratched some more into that. You can scratch in any time as long as the paint is wet. Right here, just using some of that straight red, and you see the veins that I scratched in are still taking the paint. Drop a little water in there because I want to pick some of that up. I just found it was a little too solid. And then I might even just grab a little yellow to help tie in the yellow. If you notice, I'm missing some spots, but that's okay. It doesn't matter now. I'm not even going to put paint all the way on that. I'm just going to flood some on the side. Oh, it might have been a little too much. And if you put a little too much, just pick it up. This is definitely going to be a nice vibrant one. Grab some water, grab some of the yellow, grab some of the dark. So can you see how it's starting to get some depth? Water down the red quite a bit. And I'm going to just really make these light. I might even leave a little white ridge around it. See how there's a little white there? Take some of the yellow, this big one. I'm going to dry that. A little more water because we're glazing. Grab some of the dark, grab some of this red. And if you notice, I'm not putting it on everything. Like maybe I'll come here, maybe I'll do some of that like that. And then I'll maybe pick some of that back up much. And maybe I'll just grab some water. So do you see how I'm getting some texture now? But the color underneath is showing through. So what this glazing is doing is it's brightening up our reds. We used a base of more darker and neutrals. Some paints I'm going to add some dark in, some I'm not, and I'm just kind of jumping around. And I'm just going to mix up a little bit of the dark. I've got a lot of contamination there. It's actually kind of nice. Dropping a little bit of that purple around the yellow, and then just kind of putting it there. You can even draw a line again if you want. You can do whatever you want. It helps if you clean your brush off first before going into your paint. I'm a bad paint contaminator. It's a waste. Just darkening down those leaves some. And again, I'm pulling them out. My brush with a little bit of water on it. I just don't want them to pop out too much. I want people to know they're there. That's pretty dark there. I should probably have this darker down here. And if anything, have the lighter up where light is. Mind you though, the dark makes it show up nice. I'm going to dry that. I'm going to finish these last couple of petals with the nice red. And I'm going to get some clean water. Okay, that's quite watery, but that's okay. These very thin, fine layers of color is what builds up the depth. I mean, it's nice to drop into, but you won't find anything that can give you the clarity and the depth like layering and glazing can. Something like that. Let's suck some of this back up. Just darkening around where that little leaf is, or the little petal is, just to kind of get some dimension there, to make it pop. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, so before we move on, a couple little things to do. I'm just going to get my little scrubber, just a little tiny brush, and all I'm gonna do is just define some of these little circles where it's the lightest. I mean, I'm just kind of softening it some, and then I'll drop a little bright yellow back into that. And you can also do that with, you know, like if you say you want to have a couple of the stems kind of really highlight it, you can do that as well. I don't recommend you do too many. Maybe some of the top ones would be better, but not the ones way in the back. Grab a little bit of that yellow, and then I'm just going to drop some back on the things that I actually scrubbed a little. So there, you get some nice bright yellow. You can do that with the red too if you want to just make that a little redder because you took off some of the dark. All right, so there's only one thing left to do, and that is just to put some tiny shadows towards where your focal area is. Get this and the red, and let's make that a little bluer. You want to make sure it's not too thick. That's a little thick. You just want a hint. So I will come here. All I'm doing is just going around the outside edge of that petal, and then I'm just grabbing some water and pulling that out, just to make the lighter petals pop up. You see that? And you don't do them all. Don't do the back ones. Just do your little ones that you want, like right here. Do you notice how once you put the dark next to it, it really pops? Just make it a little darker. This has quite a light edge. Let's do this. And if you notice, I just kind of scribbled on it. Just moved my paintbrush. I'm just trying to add a little interest. So when I'm softening it out, I'm not taking the purple away from where we put underneath. Just see how all of a sudden those petals, they're being pushed upward. Just kind of going over a couple more. All right. When I'm done, I make sure it's a nice square and I attach it to the front of a card, just using a little bit of maybe painter's tape or something that doesn't stick permanently. So after the holidays are over, It can be taken off and framed, and you have a beautiful little Christmas painting. These Roman small paints blended beautifully on this card. I have a full review right here. Like if you enjoyed this, and tell me which design you'd like to see next.